Warning. Warning. Warning.
Many of the things I'm talking about here are fairly complex issues. I think that we can rightly call the situation that we face right now an unprecedented emergency. Increasing density of population and the increasing rate at which we're interacting with either wildlife and that we're interacting with, for many people in some parts of the world, is interacting very closely with pigs and poultry, sometimes even in the same house, is really storing up the potential for a real plague, a pandemic of some novel pathogen crossing the species barrier. And most epidemiologists, I think, are now of the view that this is a case of when and not if. It could be tomorrow, it could be 83 years' time. But if it were to happen, given our population and given the rate at which transmission can occur through air travel, there is a real possibility that this could be a major problem for us in terms of loss of human life. It may well be, I don't know, but the number could be over 1 billion people who would die from such a plague. I mean, it is worth pointing out that the last one, which was 1918 and 19, Spanish flu pandemic, killed what was originally thought to be somewhere between 20 and 40 million. It was revised upwards to 50 million, is now thought to have killed about 100 million people. But the real problem here is that we actually don't know. We have no way of being able to predict or prevent or manage such a plague if one were to actually happen. It's a real threat. What are we all doing about it? Well, the answer is very little.
So it gives me great pleasure to welcome the human plague.
The global population has more than doubled. There are now over 7 billion people. These are cities that have grown very, very rapidly. In Bangladesh, which has 14 million people, in Brazil, which has an official population of 20 million, could be as much as 30 million people. Shanghai, which has a population of, roughly speaking, 23 million people. Jakarta, Indonesia, which has a population of 37 million. Things are not looking optimistic in terms of population. I think the message is that we are the drivers for almost every global problem that we face. And every one of those problems is set to grow as we continue to grow. And one of the principal reasons for that is the way in which we consume things. One of the definitions of a plague is a calamity. One of the things that all of these people have done in a very short period is fundamentally alter much of the planet. It's interesting that we can actually see this really impressive and in some sense beautiful picture of our influence, particularly in cities, from space. Years ago, there were fewer than 1 billion of us. In 1960, there were 3 billion people on the planet. And in my lifetime alone, the global population has more than doubled. There are now over 7 billion people. By 2050, there are going to be, roughly speaking, about 9.5 billion people. By 2100, there will be at least 10 billion of us. population at the end of this century will not be 10 billion people, it would be 28 billion people. And we've had, when the science community have been telling politicians about the problems that are emerging and are now just starting to emerge, what we've had from political leaders is not leadership. What we've had is 30 years of words and inaction. And if you look, by the way, I showed this from 2009 because the recent COPs in Warsaw, they didn't even bother showing up. And for example, what we've had for 30 years is just words and inaction. It's certainly not leadership for 30 years. And what we look set to have, when you look at the rhetoric that's coming out of what's called world leadership, is another 30 years of words and inaction. And all the while, we're heading deeper and deeper into trouble. So to finish, I mean, it's not a plague analogy, but I've used the analogy elsewhere. I think it is true that if we discovered this evening on the news that an asteroid had been discovered on its way to Earth, and we knew because of its size and its trajectory that it was going to hit Earth in 37 years, and it was going to wipe out even 40% of life on Earth, but let's just say 70%. And governments worldwide would marshal the entire planet into unprecedented action. Every business, every scientist, every engineer, and every university would be marshalled into preventing this or figuring out a way for the maximum number of people on Earth to survive if option one, preventing it, couldn't be avoided. And I think we're almost in precisely that situation now, except that there isn't an asteroid and there isn't a date. The problem is us, and we urgently need to do something about it, because I think we can rightly say the situation we face right now is an unprecedented planetary emergency.